How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Random-ish with Sandra. I am in a special location. As you see, this is not our OG set. Actually, technically, we got a new set. Studio. Not the usual studio place. We are on location, and it is gorgeous in here. I want to introduce you to, phenomenal woman right here. Melissa's Kitchen. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Very excited. First podcast.
Is this your first?
Yes. I was keeping that a secret.
We pop in her cherry, y'all. I like that. That makes me so excited.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcasting world.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think I'm going to fit in.
I think you will. You've got a lot of great energy. How I met Miss Melissa, okay, is because there was this Business Socialistas Shark Tank. One of the sponsors, Milford Med Spa, for the Manufactured Beauty Fest, happened to be a sponsor for that. I saw it online, but I'm just going to keep it a buck, okay? I was kind of like, I don't really need to join another networking situation when they were like, hey, come and join. And I was kind of like, I'm not sure that's what I should do. But then Courtney was like, hey, they're doing this Shark Tank thing. I'm giving you a ticket. Come on through. Come with us. And I was like, okay. So I love Courtney. So I was like, I'm there. Okay. And to be honest, it's because I was kind of like, I don't feel like it's going to have I didn't know if there was going to be a lot of diversity or not. So I was just kind of like, I really love people who are super into like diversity. And I was happy to see that there was a diverse crowd of ladies there. And one of the ladies that was there was this beautiful ray of sunshine. And when you spoke on the stage, I was like, she are people's, yeah. You know what I'm saying? She's like live personality. You know what I mean?
Thank you. It was very nerve-wracking being up there, so.
Yeah, you did a really great job, by the way.
Thank you.
I could not tell that you were nervous. No.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously. I was like,
That's nice, actually, because I was bugging. Because for a while... Well, I forgot what I was saying there one time, and I kind of spaced out for a second. But whatever, I'm a person of habit. You know what I mean? I'm not in the profession of public speaking, so
even if you were, it happens.
Yeah, thank God, right? So yeah, I was really nervous, but after I went out there, then I was like, it's fine.
Yeah, no,
it was like
really
3 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever. So
it was a 5 minute like scheme, telling you what you got going on,
right?
And
just like the show, pretty much, but for local. So you go on, tell everybody about your business, what you're going to do with your business in hopes of winning the grand prize of $5,000.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait, they're giving away money? Oh, wait a minute.
Right.
This might actually be a legit social networking.
That's why I was signed up in 2 seconds. I'm like, I'm here.
Right?
Free 5,000, put me down.
I'm there.
Yeah, I will try to win this. I don't care what I have to do.
Right? I know that's right. So when she explained what her business is, so as you can see, we are here in Melissa's kitchen.
Yeah.
And you were explaining to everybody about your, I guess, allergens that you found out about and how you found out that there was a need for allergen-free food because it is insane, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, that so many foods have allergies. It's really insane.
Yes.
So you decided to take it upon yourself. Now, the story is so you were doing it for yourself at first, and then, so how did you get into making it for other people?
It just snowballed totally organically. So I had my own personal Instagram page, and I was holding myself accountable by posting. So I was on this whole elimination diet, and this is what I'm eating today. This is what I'm eating for lunch. This is what I'm eating for dinner. And it was to hold me accountable and for myself so I could look back. Because I was journaling. You have to journal everything and how you feel and how your stomach feels. And I wasn't the best at it. So it did help me to go back and be like, oh, this is what I ate yesterday because I wrote it on my Instagram.
Right.
And then, people are like, oh, it looks good. And then when you start saying, well, yeah, and it's also gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and seed oil free. And they're like, no way that's gluten free. No way that's dairy free. How'd you do it? Whatever. So from there, I kind of got a little following on Instagram. And then before I knew it, somebody was like, I have celiac disease and I can eat gluten at all. And I suck at cooking and that food looks so good. And I haven't had stuff like that in so long. Can you make that for me? And I said, sure, I'll make you a couple meals. And I did. And from there it was just like somebody else. Then I posted like, I'm making meals for someone, you know what I mean? Kind of like put out the carrot, you know? And then little by little, like somebody else was like, can you make me meals? Can you make me meals? And then once I had like 5 people, I'm like, maybe I should put out a menu and see if anybody bites on it. And then that's just how it went. I put out a menu, then I started putting out holiday menus, and then everything just rolled from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. So that's like a beautiful manifest beauty store right there.
Right, it was.
You take the chaos and you make something beautiful.
That's right.
I really enjoy that. Very, very much.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So how long ago has it been?
It's been 5 years.
Wow, get out.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. But the first 2 years were very part-time out of my apartment. Like I was saying, like rolling with people, contacting me on Instagram, etc. And then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And I was really thinking about making it more serious right before COVID became COVID, right?
Okay.
So I had a meeting at a church, actually, because I was going to rent the church kitchen.
Okay.
Because they were licensed as a commercial kitchen.
Right.
So I had this meeting at the church, and the lady actually blew me off for whatever reason. I think something happened with her kid. I'm not exactly sure. And we didn't meet. And it was literally the next week was COVID. Wow. It was like the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I was a teacher at the time.
Wow. Oh, wow, yeah.
So then they were like, you're not coming back to school Monday. And I'm like, okay. And then COVID started. But thankfully for me, COVID actually helped me in the long run because everything was shut down. People had nowhere to go get food. Everybody was home working and with their kids trying to do school and them trying to do work online, and people had the need for nutritious, good for you food that they didn't make themselves.
Right.
So I started getting a little busier, and then as soon as the world began to open again, I got right back with that church and was like, let's re-meet. I'm interested in renting the kitchen, and I got the kitchen.
There you go.
And then I started making food in that kitchen, and that's when I went legit, right? So that's when I got all my paperwork and everything like that you need to have a whole commercial kitchen in Connecticut to sell food.
Okay.
And I was there for like 9 months, and then I came here. And this is I've been here for 3 years.
Wow. Yep. I just love that story. Wow. That is just an amazing and beautiful thing right there. Yeah.
I mean, I just made that sound really nice and glorious, which it was.
Because,
but it was a lot of hard work in those years. Yes.
Why?
Right. Exactly.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
She's reading about all those.
This is like the nice lullaby story.
Right. This is the story that makes everybody say, oh, you know what? I can do this too. I'm going to go start my own Sam's Kitchen.
Yes, right.
You know, it always sounds easier than what it actually the journey is. But when you look back on the years gone by, it does, it's worth it. It's one of those situations where you're kind of like, you know what? So, and now everybody's, since COVID, and I feel like even with the wellness industry period, right? And with, I'll dare say it, the woo-woo business, right? I have to learn how to say the teachings of Manifest Beauty in more of a commercially palatable way instead of saying, increase your synchronicity and feel like you've got the magic of the universe on your side. People are like, certain people are like, oh, that sounds fantastic.
Right.
And other people go, what is she talking about?
Right, you lost me.
The mad universe, the mad whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Somebody's coming. Never mind. We said we were not going to get political.
I know.
Did you see how I almost went there? Okay.
We already lied. It's like 4 minutes in.
But there's a lot of craziness in the world, right?
Yes, most definitely.
And I feel like at this time, what's happening is that there are businesses and there are people who have skills, gifts, abilities that are needed, right? And our old way of living is changing. You know, I wouldn't say dying. I know a lot of people want to say that it's dying, but there's certain things that are not going to stop. You know what I mean? And it's never going to be that everybody's going to get on board with conscious living.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like there's always, you can be the villain if you want to.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there will always be villains. There will always be like a little crazy.
Yes.
But the way that it's sounds like it was a snowball effect for you.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's very much a guided, what I like to say when we're manifesting our lives, right? We have these like internal impulses, these like, hey, you should, hey, why don't you call this person right here? Hey, why don't you go over here? You know, and I feel like that's what people need to learn how to tap into, right? Not the scary voice ones, not the ones that tell you ain't shit, right? And don't do it because, and you know what I mean? But those other ones that give you that small, like, hey, you know what?
Right. And isn't that funny too, how we, for some reason, we listen more to the negative thoughts versus the positive thoughts. Like for some reason, those thoughts are just so much louder than like, you did a good job today. And it's like, think about that for like 2 seconds. But then like, you did a bad job today. And it's like, you be relishing in that for like 2 days. Like, damn, I messed up so much stuff today. You know what I mean? But then you have an awesome day and you celebrate it for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Right.
It's really, really insane. And so, you know, I looked into neuroplasticity, right? And there's a therapist, doctor, she's a neurologist, Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is freaking dope, right? And there's been a lot of different, you know, doctors out there who have shown that our brain, which is so crazy, is not even wired to handle negative, which is why it jacks us up so bad.
Okay.
Your brain is wired to be loving and to handle love, right? But our lifestyle has flipped it on the script, right? You know what I mean? And so now we ruminate, we sit in our negative vibes or whatever, whatnot, and then it ends up turning into something negative that happens in our life. I know, you know, I just realized, hold on a second, I just realized that I literally just had a director's like voice in my head. Stop putting your hand in front of her face.
I didn't even notice.
I'm sorry.
I don't care.
I'm gonna go back and look at
the whole time, not even like paying any attention to that. I had no clue. And I'll watch the video back later and I'll be like, she put her hand in front of my face like the whole time.
I mean, just turtles showing it.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Well, what are you going to do? So I feel like, obviously, you know, this is one of those businesses that is absolutely meant to happen. So how do you come up with your recipes? Are you getting like impulses and then?
Yes. So a lot of my recipes actually are comfort food that I found to be comforting, and, you know, things that like my mom would bake and stuff that are maybe not the healthiest, right? But I made them healthier, right?
Nice.
So those are my favorite recipes. The stuff that like I always love to eat, but I can still eat just a little tweaked, right?
Right.
But then I also get influences from like Instagram, like everybody else, Facebook. You're scrolling, you see somebody make something, you're like, oh, that looks pretty good. And I come in, test it out, tweak it a little bit, you know, see what I could do. So that's mostly where I get my inspiration from. I'm a big local person. I'm a big fresh person. I believe in eating fresh food, and I like to support all the farmers, or as many farmers as I can in the area. Shout out to 2 specific farms, Laurel Glen in Shelton and Sport Hill Farm in Easton. Those are my favorites. So I also pull a lot of inspiration just from what's available, because seasonal eating's important, right? So I go and, you know, based on whatever vegetables are in season and whatever ones look extra good that week, then I'll use those to inspire whatever I'm going to make, because I change the menu twice a week. So every two times a week.
You're not making the same thing every week.
Oh no, there's a new menu twice every week. There's 2 different menus, and I just keep rotating and rotating.
That is awesome.
Right, because I only have like 4 or 5 selections each menu, so I like to keep it fresh for people. Like people don't want to eat, like you can meal prep yourself and eat the same thing Monday through Friday. You can make your sheet of chicken and your sheet of vegetables and mix it together or whatever. So I like to mix it up so people can have like a nice variety.
That's really great, because sometimes that could be the thing that you run into is that, I mean, it's what happens with me, right? You make one thing and you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, that was good, we can eat that. And then you just eat that for like, until you don't want to eat the damn thing anymore. You know, and then now you're like, okay, so now what am I actually going to eat? You know, that's the thing that I'm finding. So, as I shared with you guys, I decided to go and get an allergy test why this is such a very curious George kind of a situation for me is because when I came back in there, the lady was like, you can eat chicken and eggs, you know what I mean? And I was just like, really? I mean, all the stuff was checked off. And I don't like a lot of stuff anyway. I'm like super picky anyway. But I thought that it was just me. Turns out to be, no, my body really doesn't like it.
Right.
And I don't know if it's that the food itself is bad or if it's the chemicals that they're using in the pesticides.
Right.
But now that you've gotten into doing and cooking like this,
yes,
have you found, is that like, well, I mean, we ain't trying to have like the FDA come out there.
Right.
But
Kitchen Melissa follows all state compliances. I have all the proper insurances and licenses to run this business.
Okay.
Little asterisk there for you. Just nobody question anything I'm saying.
Have you found that organics and like local farm food is less stimuli? See, I'm a word this correctly.
Right.
It's less stimuli for people's digestive tracts than perhaps when you go to a supermarket?
Yes. Now, and the very easiest way to explain that is we'll take both of our favorite food, the avocado.
Okay.
We talked about this before. Both of us can't and won't eat avocados, so we'll use that as an example. Okay, so when you go to the store, we can't grow avocados here, so this isn't a great example. But when you go to the store, you know why they're all rock hard? Because they were literally picked 4 weeks ago or more in Mexico and then got on a truck and or a plane before they came all the way up here to Connecticut, okay? So think about a food as a living thing, right? Because plants are alive, all right? So let's use lettuce because we got that here, okay? Yeah. So let's say you get romaine from Stop and Shop, okay? Romaine was a living plant, and then you cut it down. As soon as you cut it, it's dead, right? You cut it, it's dead. You removed it from its ground, you know what I mean? And now it's gone, it's dead. So now, do you think it's better that you ate that dead plant that has been dead for like 4 weeks and then in plastic under the bright lights of the supermarket, right? Or do you think it's better if you ate a plant that died like 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well.
Yes, right. So I feel like that's like one of like the easiest ways to just put it is like it's the fresh is there's a living organism and you want a lot of those organisms to go inside of you because those are nutrients and vitamins. And when you've had something that's been dead for weeks, it's a little different. You know what I mean? Also, when you eat vegetables that were grown right here in Connecticut, they're living the same, they're breathing the same breath as you.
True.
They're using the same dirt as you, the same sun, the same wind or whatever. Not to get too woo-woo.
Come on.
You know what I mean? But it's like, it's you. It's local. It's near you. It's all the things that you need to survive in this area. Does that make sense?
We were in church right now. What? That was like, that was the most beautifulest.
Thank you.
Way I have ever heard. I'm about to clip that, send that to the DMVA. They don't use that for their farmers market.
Right. They should.
No, that was like,
I want affiliate marketing for that.
Damn, that was wow. That is such a great way to put that because even animals, I've noticed. So like if there's a dead thing on the ground, they ain't messing with that thing. But if it just got hit, then you'll see the birds and the whatever coming and picking at it.
Only scavengers take the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, and since we are all working on elevating and having a higher frequency because, you know, sometimes maybe not everybody, but sometimes people get a little crazy with the whole 5G situation, right? I heard that there's like some other kind of G that's coming, which is like, aren't we already going fast enough, guys?
I don't think so.
Like, do we really need to go faster? But, you know. There's always another dollar to be made.
That's right.
So in that case, I feel like we need to do what we can, right? And I feel like most of it is mental. Like I get it and I understand that we are, you know, flesh and blood, and so there are certain things that you don't want to really like ingest or whatever. But I do think that our bodies have the ability to adapt to our new environment.
Yes.
You just need to mentally be able to adapt to it, and then taking certain actions.
Yes.
Exercising, moving, eating what's good for your body.
Right.
You know?
The biggest thing I would say to remove, which is not the easiest thing, is anything in a box or bag or processed or frozen, because those are the things that you turn the ingredient list around and then it's like this long, the ingredients.
That's true.
And those are the things that there's a bunch of chemicals, it's really processed, there's additives, preservatives. Those are the things that are going to get you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like your vegetables, your meat, your chicken, your rice, your grains. You know what I mean? Like the basic perimeter of the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the other stuff, I think, that is really like the worst.
It
you know?
is. And you know what's funny is because I feel like so crazy that I'm about to say this right now. But I come from the day and age where I liked to eat things out of the box.
Oh, yes.
I was the exact opposite. I was like, I ain't eating no fruits and vegetables, because every time you would go into the store, the fruits and vegetables were nasty.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I almost felt like it was like on purpose that the fruits and vegetables would be gross. So then therefore you would go to the big companies and get the more shelf-stable food,
Right.
you know what I mean, so that
Right.
you can have something to eat
Right.
in a week, you
Right.
know?
Like you're eating cereal that's fortified with a bunch of fake vitamins and minerals that you could just get from fruits or vegetables.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But don't feel bad about saying that, because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and that's what we ate.
That's what we did.
That's what we ate. That's what we ate.
Everything
Like,
was out of the box.
my mom cooked dinner every single night.
Yep.
But like the meat, yes, but then everything else is from a box. You know,
Yeah.
like pastaroni, rice-a-roni,
Yep.
scallop potatoes.
Girl,
you know what I mean?
Scallop
Right,
potatoes.
exactly. And then for breakfast, you eat Pop-Tarts or granola bars or like those little mini muffins or
Yeah.
that's what you did.
Or
That's what you did.
if your mom was really trying to be a little healthy for you, you got the that carnation milk, which actually was not healthy.
Right, right. But they told you it was.
They told you it was.
Right.
It was tasty. I used to steal those
Right.
things and just stick my finger in the chocolate. Yeah,
Right.
they were pretty dang tasty.
So we all,
Yeah.
you know, growing up around that time, for everybody, unless you had a mom at that point who was considered like the crunchiest granola of all
Yeah,
time,
right.
you know, because back in the day, people didn't mess with that.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those things that they called them tree huggers.
Right. Like now that's cool.
That was cool. That
In
was
the
cool.
80s and the 90s, those people were weird.
Yeah, you're like,
Nobody wanted to be like them. Those were like the randoms, you
your
know?
mom eats granola?
Yeah. Now I'm a proud
Right.
crunchy granola. Proud to be.
Proud to be. Nothing wrong with it,
Right.
you know? And now we are finding out, you know, and that's what's so, I guess, cool about technology is it is in some cases helping us to expand our knowledge and to know more and be able to look up information.
Most definitely.
You know? And
Yes.
So, like myself, instead of just running to the doctor to go in and say, oh, I'm having some issues, I want to take some pills. That's not something that everybody can do, right? Like I have always thought a little bit differently, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's because when I was a kid and I had like tonsil issues, they would always just give me pills. And so I kind of picked up on like around like 9, I was like, we ain't talking smack or nothing like that, but they're practicing medicine. I'm just saying, you know.
Right.
So I have always been like looking for like other ways of being able to like stay healthy and stuff. But now it is something that we are all doing. We're all looking into eating more healthy. People are looking into alternative healing, you know, and food and diet is like a really huge part of that. So tell them, how can they get some Melissa's Kitchen food?
Well, I have numerous ways that you can access my meals, let's say. So I have a website, kitchenmelissa.com. All the information, of course, is so nicely listed there. But every week I put out 2 menus, like I said. They're available for pre-order. You can have the meals delivered to your home for a fee, or you can pick them up here at the store for free. And then if you're not the pre-order type because you have a busy life, which is, you know, everybody today, you can just come into the market anytime that I'm open. I have a refrigerator in the other room. It has stocked meals, all freshly prepared. Everything I make the day before it goes into the refrigerator. They're good for about 4 days. Some things can be frozen, especially like soups. I make a lot of soups here. I love soup. Like I said, the menu rotates, so there's always fresh stuff. And, I use only good ingredients, clean ingredients, nothing from a box or anything like that. Whenever I can, I buy all local vegetables from my 2 favorite farms. Unfortunately, this is Connecticut, so in the winter, it is what it is. You got to buy your vegetables from the grocery store. And I try to use only like quality meats, wild fish and seafood, all that good stuff, No seed oils,
That's great.
Right. And it is crazy, like you're saying, because like 5 years ago, like seed oil was on no one's radar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until I started looking all into my elimination diet and reading all these books about food and everything. And then I was like, wow, I never even thought about seed oil. That's all I use. Vegetable oil, canola oil.
Yeah.
That's like all we use.
That was all we used.
Right.
And it's got the canola's got like 3 or 4 different things in it.
Right. It's just like
so
stuff that's old and rotten, smashed. They heat it to like 9 bazillion degrees. I don't know. I'm not an oil maker, but it's something like that. You can look it up. Yeah.
Hurry up and look it up on TikTok.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Get your research in before you can't. But that was like something that nobody even knew about. And now today, everybody's like, no seed oils.
Yeah.
Do you have seed oils here? And like all of a sudden that's on like everybody's radar. So like, yeah, to your point, like recently, especially, I feel like the whole ingredients, which is wonderful, that people care like about ingredients and what they're putting in their bodies and even like medicines. And like, maybe we should be looking a little bit closer at all this medicine that doctors are just prescribing and like, like you're saying, there's alternative ways.
Yes.
We went a little like too far, I feel like, and now it's kind of, we're balancing again. That there's a nice balance between, healing things and doctors. Like, we all work together and be best friends. You know what I mean?
I think that there's plenty of room for everybody, and I think that it is going to be moving more into the individual care.
Right.
The sound and frequencies.
Yes.
They're learning.
Love that.
They're learning a lot. And I think that the same way that weed became legal because they realized, let's get some of that money. I think that other modalities, healing modalities, are going to become more commercialized because they'll be like, Pfizer going to be like, let's get some of that money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So,
I want some
I want some woo-woo.
Right.
Woo-woo-woo.
Your insurance now covers woo-woo.
Exactly,
So much.
I'm looking forward to those days, So, all right, you know what? We have definitely sat here for time just flew by.
Oh yeah.
We
talked before this too.
Yeah, what I'm saying. So, if I didn't have to go get my daughter, we'd probably still keep going. You know what I'm saying? But I can hear her now. My mind probably forgot about me. So, let's not leave her hanging. One more time, tell them your social media. Where can they?
So I am Kitchen Melissa. My name's Melissa. You can find me at www.kitchenmelissa.com. All my socials are at Kitchen Melissa. I'm at 1891 Post Road in Fairfield. Stop in and see me.
There you go.
And thank you so much.
This was so fun. I really am glad that I met you.
Podcast. Great week.
Look at that.